Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Monday the 14th of August. Before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and friends.
Reach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. Prime Minister Holness has assured that the perpetrators of Sunday's firebombing on Walker's Avenue in Gregory Park, Portmore, St. Catherine, which left dozens homeless, will be apprehended.
Quite unfortunate that we were not able to intercept those who committed this act on Saturday night. I have a message for them. We're going to treat this one specially. And the people who committed the crime were seen. And I'm going to be personally on it to ensure that every last one of them is found and dealt with within and at the limit of the law.
Holness emphasized that such violence cannot become a regular occurrence in Jamaica.
We cannot allow this to become a feature in Jamaica. It undermines the security of communities, it undermines property rights, but it speaks to something even more fundamental. If people don't share your perspective, whether it is social or political, you have no right to try and destroy people's homes to displace them. And that will not be tolerated.
He said he considered the bombing an act of terror as it undermines the community's safety and property, while hinting at possible political motives behind the violence.
To consider it a crime would be to treat it as ordinary. What this is an act of terror. And the people who have committed it are terrorists.
Yes.
And they should be treated as such.
Yes.
They should be dealt with the limit of the law. It is not the first time that we have seen the use of arson to displace communities.
Asserting that no one has a right to destroy homes or displace people due to different perspectives, he expressed concern about the number of gangs in Gregory Park and Portmore at large, mentioning that police are targeting not only street gang members but also their facilitators.
We have been trying to increase penalties for crimes as a matter of deterrence. We have introduced new legislation, including the anti-gang legislation, and we have been using the anti-gang legislation quite effectively. There are a number of gangs operating in this community and in Portmore in general. And we are very concerned that these gangs are becoming entrenched and are growing, and that they may be well connected. And therefore, we have to take a kind of different strategic approach to some of these gangs, because there is obviously a high level of facilitation occurring, which makes them feel a sense of being emboldened. And therefore, that level of facilitation and that level of connection has to be properly investigated. So not only should the actual street criminal be interdicted and dealt with, so too should the people who facilitate it. And some of the facilitators are not in Jamaica. Some of them are overseas, and we have mechanisms in place which we have triggered to ensure that those who are operating overseas, as well that those who are local, those who are politically connected, and those who are influential in terms of having money to support gangs, that they are also interdicted and addressed.
And alone could have been with nobody. And when shutterbus and fire blaze, nobody to rescue. Nobody. And alone.
The police are probing the circumstances which led to the deaths of a returned resident and her caregiver, and the disappearance of a 93-year-old man in Hanover. The mystery surrounding the deaths started about 6 p.m. on Saturday, when the body of 80-year-old Patsy Allen was found inside her Top Kendall home, lying in a pool of blood with multiple stab wounds. Just 2 hours later, her caregiver, 73-year-old Tika Anderson Nesbeth, was found dead inside her house in Grange District in Green Island. Her body had multiple stab wounds. Investigators say Nesbeth's 93-year-old husband Roy Nesbeth, otherwise called Tiger, has gone missing and a search has been launched for him. The cop says Nesbeth was last seen alive when she went to the home of Allen to offer her care. A cousin of Allen had this to say.
Well, it's all about the husband of our helper, which died here, same place here in Greens. Right? Like, you know, there is some malicious feeling suspected. You understand me? I don't want to say much now, but you understand me? I don't understand. Later on, we have newer and newer development coming up. You understand me? Which, you understand me? Giving you a better understanding of what's going on. You understand me? So at least I don't want to say much now. Right? So, really, all I know, you know, a mother of ours die, and it's very, very much. If you're traveling the area of Kendall, that is all good they're going to hear about her and love for her.
Meanwhile, Superintendent Sharon B. Putt, commanding officer for the Hanover Police, said that her investigators are trying to establish what led to the chain of events. 2 men are dead after they were both shot from a motorcycle while returning from work in Saxon District, Hanover on the weekend. The deceased men have been identified as Nicholas Pinnock of Caldwell District and Denver Davis of a Rosemount address in St. James. Reports are that about 5:30 p.m. on Friday, Pinnock and Davis were returning home to Caldwell when they were ambushed by gunmen along a section of the Saxon Main Road. The gunmen opened fire, hitting both men before escaping from the scene in a motor car. The police were summoned, and upon arrival, both men were discovered lying in a pool of blood beside the motorcycle with multiple gunshot wounds. They were taken to the hospital, where Pinnock was the first to be pronounced dead, and Davis succumbed hours later after being admitted to the intensive care unit at the Noel Holmes Hospital in Lucy. There was a 43% decrease in road fatalities compared to July of 2022. The Road Safety Unit reported that 26 people were killed in 25 fatal crashes in July, whereas 46 died in 37 fatal accidents in 2022. As of August 11, a total of 238 people have lost their lives in motor vehicle accidents since the start of the year, which is a 21% decrease or 65 fewer deaths than 2022. Pedestrians accounted for 23% of the victims, motorcyclists 31%, private motor vehicle drivers 17%, and the private motor vehicle passengers accounted for 8% of the fatalities. Vulnerable road users, inclusive of pedestrians, pedal cyclists, motorcyclists, and pillion riders, made up 64% of road fatalities as of August 11. A man has been hospitalized under police guard after he sustained injuries, reportedly inflicted on him by an angry mob in response to his alleged involvement in the stabbing death of his sister in Discovery Bay, St. Anne on Saturday. The deceased is 59-year-old Lynette Brady of Tickets District in the parish. Reports are that sometime after 5 p.m. on Saturday, Brady and her brother had a dispute, during which the brother allegedly used a sharp implement to stab her several times. When residents heard of the incident, they reportedly attacked the man, leaving him with several serious injuries. The police were alerted to the unfolding events and managed to rescue the injured man on their arrival. Both Brady and her brother were taken to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead, and her sibling was admitted for treatment. The police have not yet established a motive for the killing, as investigations are ongoing into the overall developments. The Westmoreland police are probing the murder of a businesswoman who was gunned down in the parish on Saturday afternoon. A man was also shot and injured during the attack. The deceased has been identified as 27-year-old Chantal Calder Whittingham, otherwise called Pookie, of Brighton District, Little London in Westmoreland. Reports are that about 3:30 p.m, the deceased and the man were pounced upon by 4 men at Cooleytown Paradise in Savannah Lamar. The assailants opened gunfire, hitting them before fleeing the scene. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, Calder Whittingham and the man were seen lying on the roadway suffering from gunshot wounds. They were transported to the hospital where she was pronounced dead and the man was treated for his injuries. In business, local investors can trade shares issued on the Canadian market using select local brokers under the newly introduced Direct Market Access portal by the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The next phase will expand access to additional exchanges around the world. Trading in Canadian stocks will be available through brokers QMax Wealth Management and Barita Investments, eliminating the need to set up an account at a Canadian brokerage house. The Jamaican brokers will execute the orders for their clients through the DME portal. The JSE plans to expand the platform to other exchanges abroad and will eventually allow investors in those territories to buy shares listed on the Jamaica market through the DME. In sports, Jamaica Football Federation presidential candidate Raymond Anderson says he intends to lead an administration based on accountability and transparency should he be successful in his campaign. Anderson recently announced his candidacy with an election due this November. Anderson says he has given thought to being JFF president for some time and has decided to challenge incumbent Michael Ricketts. The Federation's constitutional reform last year resulted in a change to the number of delegates allowed to vote in the election. This change saw an increase in delegates from 13, which consisted then just of parish confederation presidents, to 56 to include more stakeholders. In the weather forecast, Director of the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, Evan Thompson, says the region may experience more storms this hurricane season than initially anticipated. He said that the likelihood of an above normal Atlantic hurricane season is now twice as much as was predicted at the beginning of June. Instead of a 30% chance, it is now a 60% chance of us having a more active hurricane season, which could produce as much as 21 tropical storms this year. The average is 14, he said. He noted that the National Hurricane Center issued an updated forecast for the hurricane season on August 10. Forecasters believe that current ocean and atmospheric conditions, such as a record warm Atlantic sea surface temperatures, will likely counterbalance the usually limiting atmospheric conditions associated with the ongoing El Niño event. He also noted that it is anticipated that there will be an improvement in rainfall in the region in coming months. We are seeing maybe some improvement coming in the near future. Right now, it has not been issued yet, but we believe we are moving closer to a near normal or even above normal rainfall for Jamaica as we move towards November, he said. Citing the increased incidence of extreme weather, longer droughts, flooding, and extreme heat, Thompson said building resilience is critical. And on the entertainment scene, dancehall artist Bounty Killer and his associates are being praised by Superintendent Damian Manderson, Operations Officer of the St. Andrew South Police Division, for participating in a peace initiative held in Seaview Gardens. The event was organized by the police's Community Safety and Security Branch shortly after a recent murder in the area. The initiative aims to promote peace and unity in a community troubled by violence. Bounty Killer, along with other notable dancehall artists from Seaview Gardens, participated in the event to address residents. He urged those involved in violence to cease their harmful actions and emphasize the significance of the community's musical heritage. The Kingston 11 community has been grappling with ongoing violence and criminal activities. Bounty Killer emphasized that the community boasts numerous talented individuals and that the negative actions of a few should not overshadow their potential. He encouraged the community to work together to counteract these harmful influences and restore a sense of morality and unity. And that is it for your news roundup for today. We would appreciate you liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with your family and friends. Have a good evening and see you next time.